let's have a look at this airport video. So police officer has been suspended after an airport kicking video. And it's right that he should be suspended. I mean, I don't know what caused it. We don't, the details leading up to it, you know, the whole incident are unclear. But I just want to warn you, this is a warning. It is upsetting. I found it upsetting. Watching anyone kick someone in the head and then stamp on their head is not good. And of course, the person who they did it to, they're in hospital. Apparently, they've got cyst on the brain, and they're still in hospital. I hope they'll be okay. Oh, you know, just watching it, because the thing is, he's got big boots on as well, the policeman. Oh, kicked him right in the face and then stamped on the head. And I don't think that was necessary. Do you? I mean, you know, they had him under control by the look of it. I mean, whatever had happened before, you know, the guy's lying on the floor, someone's on top of him. Was it really necessary to kick him in the head and stamp on his head when he was already lying down and, you know, under control? Oh, right in the face. No, sorry. You know, I can't, as much as maybe that guy was a right twonk, I don't know, but that kicking him in the face with those boots and then stamping on his head, he shouldn't have done it. Yeah, shouldn't have done it. All he had to do was kneel down on him like that. He put his knee on him. That he didn't need to do the kicking in the face and stamping on the head. Right, we'll watch it one more time. I hope you're all okay. It hasn't triggered you. So, what do you all think? I'm going to come back to the chat now and see what you've got to say about it. Hi, Chumba. Yeah. You know, that's it. I mean, these are the police. They're not supposed to do things like that, are they? I mean, and it wasn't necessary because the guy's being controlled. And that guy coming up there didn't have to kick him in the face. He didn't have to stamp on his head. All he had to do was kneel on him if he was trying to control him or whatever. He was already more or less controlled. So I don't, you know, he's gone, that policeman. You know, he's gone. He cannot, or he's, you know, needs some more training or something. You cannot have the police using that violence, really, no matter what, in a way, isn't it? I mean, you could understand it if, you know, the guy was a murderer or something, but you know, on the run, or had a gun or had a knife even or something. But just to me, it does seem, that's, you know, how I feel, but I don't know how everybody else feels. I think most people agree, don't they? That is brutal. It's too brutal. Yeah, well, we know what happened with the guy who used his knee in America on George Floyd. You know, you've got to be careful whatever you do. You know, and I do think it's difficult, because it's difficult using, you know, sometimes you have to use force. You have to use force sometimes. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to contain somebody. But what is reasonable force? I mean, isn't that the point of the tasers and everything? You know, why didn't he just taser him or whatever? Why did he have to kick him in the face and stamp on his head? Surely he must have known that that can kill somebody. Everybody knows that. You know, you don't stamp on someone's head and think that nothing's going to happen to them. So anyway. Yeah, it's too brutal. Okay, I'll answer that later, Rachel, when we do that. I'm not sure why she was boiling water. I think it just happened to have the water on the stove when the police came round. You know, because she'd phoned the police and they'd come round, and she must have been boiling water for something. And then when they went in the house with her, and they said to her, take that off the stove. But anyway, there's a video of it, there's body cam of it. So okay, so right, let me carry on reading that. So a police officer has been suspended. Well, he's got to be suspended, hasn't he, after that? After a video circulated online of a man being kicked and stamped on the head at Manchester Airport. An officer had been removed from all duties after a thorough review of further information of the incident. So I expect they've seen the full body cam, which took place on Tuesday, Greater Manchester Police confirmed. So the footage showed a uniformed male officer holding a taser over the man, who was lying on the ground at Terminal 2 before kicking him twice at about 8:30. The mayor of, in the evening, the mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, has met the Home Secretary over the incident, has appealed for calm. After the meeting, Yvette Cooper said she understood the widespread distress the footage had caused, adding she had spoken to the police about the urgent steps they are taking. She said it was essential that police had the trust of communities, and the public rightly expect high standards from those in charge of keeping us safe. And Greater Manchester Police said it understood the deep concerns that had been widely raised. Now, I don't know what the details of the policewoman getting her nose broken. I mean, obviously that's an assault. That someone's going to be charged for assault, aren't they, for that? You know, and that is not acceptable either. Of course it isn't. But maybe that's what happened. He saw what had happened to his colleague. He's just lost it. But you can't have someone as a policeman who loses it. That's what's happened with this case in America. They've got guns over there. Turns out this guy who murdered. To me, it's murder what he did to that woman. He had I think 2 convictions for drunken driving, etc. You know, so which apparently in Illinois, because of course all the states are different, aren't they? They have different rules in America, but apparently in Illinois, having charges for drinking and driving against you doesn't preclude you from being a law enforcement officer. It's like, what? You know, what? I mean, look, we're all human and we've all done things, but a law enforcement officer, 30 years old, he's got 2 indictments for driving under the influence. I mean, how was he allowed to be a police? He obviously can't control himself, full stop. I mean, these law enforcement officers in America, they've got to be even more in control because they've got guns. You know, so they can't just be going around shooting people willy-nilly because they think they're going to throw some boiling water over them. It's not just, even if she was going to do it, there's no evidence that she was going to, but say she was, you can't shoot someone for that 3 times in the face. Why didn't he? You know, he's a great big massive guy, this guy. You know, why didn't he take control of her? You know, or why didn't he shoot her in the leg or something? I don't know, but just not, why shoot her in the face 3 times? Anyway, because he was out of control, that's why. So he should never have been a policeman in the first place. And it's difficult because policemen do have to keep high standards because, like Yvette Cooper said, the public demands high standards from those in charge of keeping us safe. Anyway, Greater Manchester Police said it understood the deep concerns that had been widely raised. The footage sparked a protest outside Rochdale Police Station on Wednesday night. There's a massive Muslim community in Rochdale. So if this is connected, like with what you said, David, you know, about maybe somebody being asked to remove their head covering or whatever, I mean, there'll be massive demonstrations. There's a huge Muslim community there that won't be happy about it at all. So chants of shame on you were heard. And in the build-up to the incident shown in the clip, a police spokesman said that firearms officers had been punched to the ground after trying to make an arrest during a fight in the airport. Now, I did see this. They're saying that there was a clear risk their weapons could be taken from them, the police spokesman said, adding that all three had been taken to hospital, one with a broken nose. So 4 men were later arrested on suspicion of assault and affray, and all have since been bailed. It seems unclear what led to the incident, but Mr. Burnham, that's Andy Burnham, the King of the North, the Mayor of Manchester, said he thought there'd been an issue on a flight coming into Manchester. When the flight landed, 2 individuals were waiting for their mum, who said there had been an issue. She pointed somebody out and there was an altercation in the arrivals hall. He said that those involved had been followed by camera through the airport, and then we got to the scene that people have seen in the car park area. Mr. Burnham told BBC Radio Manchester he'd seen the full footage that showed a fast-moving and complicated situation in a challenging location. It's not clear-cut. Time has been taken to get a clearer picture of what has happened, he said, adding that an investigation needed to proceed now in a thorough and measured way. So, yeah, they need to get this sorted pretty quick before there's riots, because there could well be riots and things like that. And, you know, you can see that was looked, you know, from that bit that you see, that isolated incident, it looked like too much. But of course, you know, I suppose when you put it all together with everything else that had happened, maybe it won't seem that extreme. Anyway, they pinned him up against a wall, he told the BBC, before another man tried to intervene, and a fight broke out, with the pinned man throwing punches until he was tasered to the floor when the officer kicked him. So maybe that's when he broke the woman's nose, I don't know. I do think part of it is people don't have any respect for police, though. You know, I'm not just saying it, but I don't think that would happen with the Guardia Civil at all. I do think in Britain there is no respect for the police, or little respect for the police from anybody, you know, from all sorts of aspects of society. People don't respect the police, so they don't respect them. So that's how these situations get out of control. Now, you know, I'd have to look into it, but I don't know the only time you get incidents like that with the Guardia, I think, would probably be tourists or holidaymakers when they've had a drink or whatever. But, you know, there's a lot of respect for the Guardia here. Well, you could call it respect or fear, whichever way you look at it. I don't know that it's a bad thing or a good thing. I don't know. But all I know is if I needed somebody's help, I would be glad to have the Guardia come and help me. You know, they definitely. Let's see what Andy's got to say. Love Andy.
I would ask for calm, because what I can assure people is that the right steps have been taken, the right and proper steps have been taken in the right way. Time has been taken just to sort of, you know, get a clearer picture of what has happened. The investigation now needs to be allowed to proceed in a thorough and measured way, because it has to be fair to everyone in the situation. That said, I will be speaking to the Independent Office for Police Conduct today to ask them to work with us to put in place arrangements to ensure the highest level of independence for this investigation, and secondly, that there will be input from community stakeholders.
So there you go. So what he means is he's going to bring in some people from the Muslim community to try and help calm the situation down. And Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer said he completely understands the public's concern over the footage, and he said the Home Secretary is being kept updated. And former Chief Superintendent of the Metropolitan Police, Dal Babu, told BBC Radio 4 the police actions were appalling and unnecessary. And in his opinion, racism played a part in the incident. Now, that's an interesting thing to say, because did it? It possibly did, because definitely this incident in America, I think definitely racism played a part in it, because the poor lady that lost her life was an African American, and the guy who shot her looked like a redneck to me, but you know, maybe he's not, but he was just so contemptuous of her. You know, at the end of the day, this is a woman. You'll see when we look at a woman who's rang the police because she's worried she's got an intruder. She's rang them. They've gone round to her house. They're in her home. And he's turned around and shot her in the face 3 times. I think 100% certain in that case there's racism involved. You're much more likely to get shot as a black person in America than you are as a white person. It's, you know, it's that's just an unfortunate statistic. So he said the men were arrested for affray and assault, not offences at the serious end like attempted murder, gross bodily harm or malicious wounding. He said, I think racism played a significant part in this, he said, adding GMP had been slow out of the block in understanding the seriousness of the incident at a time when trust in police was so low. And this is the Rochdale police station where crowds gathered to protest. And many of the people who spoke to the BBC in Rochdale about the video asked to remain anonymous. One woman said, if I was to kick a person in the face, I would be arrested and sentenced, not have the charges dropped, and a policeman should be treated the same. Meanwhile, a man in the town said the police reaction was wrong, but I don't know what the context is. So a lot of it has got to do with the context, obviously, but still it just looks over the, you know, that guy was already on the floor when he kicked him in the face and stamped on his head. You know, it wasn't to try and subdue him. He was already subdued. We need to see the full picture, but when you're kicking a man who can't defend himself, it's exceeding the need for force. And Usman Nawaz from the Rochdale Community Alliance said the extremely disturbing footage was not the policing that we recognise in this country. And that's him there. He said there's significant concern in the Rochdale community, and he said that the people of Rochdale had generally a very good relationship with the police, but the force must get a handle on this really quickly, or mistrust could grow between police and local communities. And the force said in its latest statement it would continue to meet with Greater Manchester residents and elected representatives to discuss concerns raised about the footage. It said it had referred itself to the Independent Office for Police Conduct over the incident. And the MP of the man who was filmed being kicked told the House of Commons the video was truly shocking and disturbing. Paul Waugh, Labour MP for Rochdale, said he was meeting the man's family later today. And he said the police faced a difficult job, that they had to expect the highest standards of conduct in their duties. And they do, don't they? The Leader of the House, Lucy Powell, MP for Manchester Central, also said the footage was incredibly disturbing, and adding there was understandably a lot of concern. So the police are investigating the level of force used, added that it was vitally important All the circumstances were investigated. Inquiries are at an early stage, but a significant amount of body-worn video and CCTV footage of the incident had been secured. So I think they'll probably have the whole thing on camera. We appreciate people want answers and will work to provide these answers as quickly as we can. And a spokesperson for GMP's Police Federation said it was supporting the officer as well as all of our colleagues who were involved in the incident. Everyone has a right to a fair hearing, which of course they do have a right to a fair hearing. So there's more to come out on this story, isn't there? Hi, Rio. That's right, Teresa. They're supposed to adhere to their training. They must have a code of practice, mustn't they? They must have a code of practice that they're supposed to adhere to. So in the meantime, let's have a look what Lee Anderson or Lee Neanderthal, 30p Lee, what he had to say about it. And he is a Reform MP, of course. He was, once he was Labour chucked him out, they didn't want him, so he became a Tory, they chucked him out, they didn't want him, and now Reform have got him.
Message I'm getting loud and clear from my constituents is that the message I'm...
Now, I've got to say, he's just won again in his constituency, so they must like him. I have no idea why. He's a horrible man, in my opinion. He's racist, he's sexist, he's everything. That's why he got thrown out of the Labour Party, because he was misogynistic. He got thrown out of the Tory Party. I can't even remember what he got thrown out of the Tory Party for. What did he do? He did something, said something, I can't even remember. But of course, he fits right in Reform.
I'm getting loud and clear from my constituents is that they are fed up with seeing police dancing around rainbows and being nice to people and running off from rioters. They want the police to do their job. And I think these police yesterday should be commended. They should, in fact, I'd give them a medal.
There you go, there's Lee Anderson to you. Give him a medal, you know, that's all the police have to do is kick someone in the head, kick someone in the face, stamp on the head, give him a medal. Yeah, give him a medal, Lee. And don't forget, this is 30p Lee, who said that you could live on 30, you could cook a meal every day for 30p. I bet he never cooks a meal for 30p. I expect his meals cost a lot more than 30p, don't they?
The message I'm getting loud and clear from my constituents is that they are fed up with seeing police dancing around rainbows and being nice to people and running off from rioters. They want the police to do their job. And I think these police yesterday should be commended. They should, in fact, I'd give them a medal.
Good old Lee. You can always rely on him. You can always rely on Lee.
The message I'm getting loud and clear from my constituents is that they are fed up with seeing police dancing around rainbows and being nice to people and running off from rioters. They want the police to do their job. And I think these police yesterday should be commended. They should, in fact, I'd give them a medal.
I'll tell you what, you couldn't even feed one of my dogs for 30p. You know, the treats that they have cost more than 30p a day. So how he thinks you can feed a person for 30p? I'd like him to come to my house, do my budget, 30p each dog, 3 dogs, 30p for me and 30p for my son. So I've got to, you know, I'm not any good at maths. So what's that? That's 91.21, £1.50 a day. So come on, Lee, you can come round any time and show me how I can feed us all for £1.50 a day. I look forward to that. Well, no, not really. I wouldn't look forward to seeing that one. But anyway, I know you can't even get. I know. Where did he ever get that from? He stood there. He stood up in the Houses of Commons and said, I wonder if I can find it, because sometimes I can't quite believe it. Stood up there when people are suffering, you know. Oh, he wants to tell Andrew Snowden that. You won't get Andrew Snowden couldn't make a meal for 30p, could he? Wonder if I can find. Might have to find it for a new. I'd like to see the speech where he said it, but I can't see it just here. No, I'll find it another time. I haven't got time now. So that's the incident in Manchester Airport, and that's oh God, that's an unfolding story, isn't it? As the police investigate it, and you know, I can't see any way back for that policeman, because I can't see how there is any way you can justify kicking someone in the face and stamping on their head, especially when they're already subdued. You know, he was subdued, the guy, and then he knelt on him, which, you know, is not ideal in itself, but it's better than kicking someone in the head. But anyway, also the guy is, you know, he's got a cyst apparently on his head. Let's hope he survives. But listen, oh my God, yeah, my son, God, you tried to feed him on 30p. I'm trying to think what. There's not one thing that I buy in the supermarket that is 30p. Nothing. You know, like I couldn't even say to you, like, oh, you know, or maybe if I bought one potato, I don't. One potato is about 25p or something. You know, it's like, how are you and then how are you going to cook it for even if, well, you're not going to get all those ingredients to cook a meal for 30p, but even if you did use, you know, what about your electricity for cooking it and stuff like that? But it's the most ridiculous thing. I can't even get a pack of dog treats, even the cheap dog treats that Princess Tia won't eat, they're 80 cents. You know, where is he? Where 30p? Like you say, you can't get a chocolate bar. Chocolate bars are about €1.50 now. I mean, my God, you know, when you might be stood at the checkout and you think, oh, I'll just pick up a chocolate bar. Now you look at the price of it and you think, oh, I don't think I'll bother. You know, because I have to take out a second mortgage to get any decent chocolate these days. But so where he gets something, what is anything that you can get in the supermarket? Oh, I bought a packet of salt the other day. I think that was about 30 cents. You know, just a packet of salt. That, yeah, there you go. You can buy a packet of salt for 30p. God, just can you imagine in his house, can't you? They're all sat there cooking. You know, or he's in the kitchen cooking, or his wife's got, I presume he's married. I don't know what woman would see in him. I don't know, but you know, and he'd be like, "Oh no, you know, make sure you make this meal for 30p. You don't go outside your budget, love. You know, that's all you get in." It's just like sending her off to the supermarket with 20 quid, like you say, like it was 1980 or something, where you used to be able to get quite a lot of stuff for 20 quid. Now, God, you can't get anything. But, oh dear, crazy. So, yeah, one onion, some carrots. Oh, dear me. And then, you know, and apart from that, and then he thinks that policemen who kick people in the head and stamp on the head deserve a medal. He's got a lot of strange views, Lee Anderson, you know, but he got voted back in his constituency in Ashfield, but only just. He was very lucky. I was very disappointed because the girl that was up against him, the Labour woman, she was only young. Maybe that went against her. Sometimes it does. And, you know, when I say young, I don't mean young like 40. I mean young. Maybe that went against her. Maybe he's been a good MP for his constituents, you know. So, but they voted him back in, but only just. He was expecting not to get back in, but he just scraped in. So, Okay, so that's now that's the Manchester airport incident with the